My name is Alicia. In this lesson, I'm going to talk about some expressions for sports. Let's get started. Okay, first, I want to focus on some very common verbs we use when talking about sports. The first thing I want to look at is to play, and I want to compare this to do. So, when we want to talk about a sport and we want to describe like our hobby or an activity we regularly do, we often introduce it with one of these two verbs. By that I mean we say to play a sport, or I play a sport, or I do some activity. I do an activity. So to play is used with a sport. Yes, sports like baseball or golf, volleyball, basketball. So in a full sentence, I play baseball, or I don't play golf, or I like volleyball, or I really like basketball. On the other hand, when we use do, we're talking about like an activity. For example, I do yoga, or my brother does karate, or let's do Tai Chi this weekend. So how do you decide? Is it do or play? A good idea, or a kind of a good guide to keep in mind, is if it's a ball sport, meaning it's a sport that uses a ball, so baseball has a ball, golf has a small ball, volleyball has a larger ball, and basketball is this large-sized ball. So if it's a sport that uses a ball, you can use the word play. You can use the verb play. If there's no ball, you can probably use do. So you'll notice these are kind of like body related. These don't use a ball. They're like using the body to do something. A couple of other points for like other outdoor sports, for example, like snowboarding or skiing or maybe rafting, bicycling, and so on. We don't use do with those. We don't say, I do snowboarding. We usually use that word as the verb. For example, I snowboard, or I ski, or I raft, or I bicycle. So we use those words as the verbs. So if you're not sure, at least in those kinds of outdoor sports related cases, you can use the actual activity as a verb. But for these other cases, this is how you can kind of remember to choose between play and do. Okay, so let's continue on to the next pair. The next pair are to score, like to score a for something singular, and to make a. So first, let's look at when we use score. We use score in cases like these, like to score a goal. This is for like soccer. We use goal in soccer. Or in the rest of the world, let's see. In the US, we say soccer, but in countries outside the US, people say football. So if you're in the US, please note we say soccer. We use goal for soccer. To score a touchdown. So a touchdown is in American-style football. That's like a goal. The word is touchdown for American-style football. Or to score a point. This is for 1 point, to score a point, or to score points, plural. So this one is kind of general. Like any points, you can say, I scored a point, or we scored points. So you can use this in sports or in other games as well. For example, our team just scored a goal. In past tense, score becomes scored. So this other verb, to make, we use make also to mean like we were able to do something. And when we use make in sports, it's like we finished something or we received points because of an action. For example, to make a basket. To make a basket, this is used in basketball. So when a player throws the ball and the ball goes into the basket, we say the player made a basket. So that means they successfully threw the ball into the basket and thus received points. So they got 2 points for that. But we often will say, oh, he or she made a basket. So we don't say, oh, she scored a basket or she scored a point. Maybe we might say scored a point, but in basketball, we use make a basket, to make a basket. In golf, we have this other expression, to make a putt, to make a putt. So P-U-T-T is putt. So putting is this motion, like right next to the hole in golf. So we make these very small, usually, movements. to like touch the ball and like cause it to roll into the hole. So similar to basketball, where we throw the ball into the basket and we say make a basket, in golf, we gently tap the ball with the golf club. That's what this is called, a golf club. We tap the ball with a golf club, and if it goes into the hole, the ball rolls into the hole, we say, I made, past tense, I made a putt. I made a putt. That's what we say for that. Of course, sometimes we don't have to putt in golf. Sometimes the player is very lucky and the ball goes into the hole. You can just say something like, I made a shot in that case. Like, I can't believe I made that shot. So there are some other very specific terms that we can use in golf, but you can use shot very generally too. So for example, I can't believe I made that putt. I can't believe I made that putt. So maybe it was a really, really long putt. There was a long distance to the hole. Okay, let's continue on to the next group. The next word is to hit, to hit. So we use the verb to hit. Again, for ball sports, yes, and we can also use this for martial arts, like literally to hit someone, like a punching motion. Yes, we can use hit or punch to describe this, but we use this with baseball and with golf very commonly. For example, to hit a home run. So to hit a home run means to hit the baseball, and it goes outside of the baseball field, and all players that are currently in the game can run around to all of the bases and finish at home, So this is called a home run, a home run. So the player that hits the ball can run from home base to first base, second base, third base, and back to home. So this is called a home run. So to hit a home run is like the verb is the expression we use. We also use this idiomatically. To hit a home run means to have great success in something. So like after a meeting, wow, we hit a home run. So that means like we had some kind of great success. Another case you might hear hit is just with a ball, like to hit a ball. So you can use this in golf, to hit a ball. You can use this in baseball, just to talk about using the bat to hit a ball as well. So this can be very general for any kind of usually a stick or club related motion, to hit a ball or to hit a home run, or of course to hit another person, especially in martial arts. For example, he hit the ball into the crowd. He hit the ball into the crowd. Okay, let's look at the next one though. This next one is to foul, to foul. You may also hear foul used a lot as a noun, a foul. So to foul, we usually use to foul with a person, like I fouled another player in the basketball game. So to foul means to do something against the rules of the game. So one of our players was fouled, means another player in the game from the other team did something against the rules. So for example, maybe another player grabbed the clothing of a player on our team, or another player like hit one of our players. There was some error. So one player did something against the rules to another player. We use foul, and you'll often hear it in passive voice. One of our players was fouled. Okay, so after you foul someone or after someone is fouled, there's typically some kind of penalty in the noun form, penalty. The pronunciation is penalty, not penalty, but penalty. And as a verb, you can use to be penalized. Yes, like I was penalized for my foul in the game. But this is kind of a general word, to be penalized. You might hear this like at work as well. It's not just used in sports. In sports, however, most sports have their own specific type of penalty. So this is the punishment for a foul. For example, in soccer, like again, Americans say soccer, the rest of the world says football. In soccer, you may get, so receive, a yellow card or a red card. So that's a penalty. So yellow card is like a less mild penalty. Red card means the player is removed from the game. It's a very serious penalty. So this is a typical soccer penalty. In American-style football, there might be a 5-yard penalty. So a yard is a distance of measurement, 3 feet. So a 5-yard penalty means one team has to move back 5 yards. So it makes it more difficult to score a touchdown in American football. So they may receive a 5-yard penalty for a foul or for doing something against the rules of the game. Another one in basketball, to get a free throw. So as punishment for the team that caused the foul, the team that received the foul will get to have a free throw. So that means the player can stand in front of the basket and throw the basketball to try to make a basket. So free throw means there are no players trying to block the shot. The player has a chance to do this freely. So it's called a free throw, So these are some examples of punishments for the other team. So if you do something against the other team, they will get a chance to score a point, or you will get some punishment, or the other team will get a chance. It depends on the sport. So these are all types of punishment, really. Okay, let's continue on to the next expression, which is to beat, So we use beat to talk about one team, conquering another team, to beat. So we need to have 2 parts to this sentence. So that means the team that was the best and the team that was not the best, or the player that was the best and the player that was not the best. So for example, my college team beat my roommate's team. So that means I have a team, my roommate has a team. My college team was the winner in the match. So maybe my college football team. My college team beat my roommate's team. So maybe my roommate is in college now or something, whatever. They have a favorite team. You can say Team A was better than Team B in essence. So we need to use 2 different teams or 2 different players to use beat. So that means that this is very different from the verb to win, which is the next verb. To win does not require 2 teams. In fact, we use win to talk about a match, or to talk about a game, or to talk about a championship. For example, our city's team won the match. So win in past tense is won. Our city's team won the match. So this means our city's team competed in a match and we were the best team. So we competed in a championship, we competed in some competition. Our team was the best. So we're not saying, like with beat, our team conquered, our team was better than this team or this team or this team. We just want to communicate our team, or our player as well, was the winner. So win does not require another team. So this is different from to beat. The opposite of win then is lose. To lose means to not be the best team or to not be the best player at something. For example, we lost the game last weekend. So lose becomes lost in past tense. We lost the game last weekend. That means our team did not do the best. A different team did a better job. So to win is your team is the best. To lose means your team is not the best, unfortunately. Okay, finally, I want to talk about a few expressions that you hear a lot in sports, especially like in between plays, like maybe after the game or maybe while we're waiting for something to happen in the game. You might hear announcers use these expressions, or players might use these expressions. First, to give it one's best. To give it one's best means to give your best effort, to try your best, to do your best in the game. So this is something you might hear a player or a coach say. We gave it our best today. We gave it our best today. So this is in past tense, where it means the match. It's like the sporting event, the championship, whatever. And we gave it our best shot is something else you might hear too. We tried our best, we gave it our best shot. So this means we're going to give, like to the game or to the match, our full effort. Okay, the next one is this expression to be on the bench. To be on the bench. This actually does mean like a physical bench. A player is sitting on a bench. So there are some reasons why we might use this expression. If a player receives a penalty, a player might sit on the bench. They might have a timeout, or they may have to stop playing for the game or for a short period of time. In this example sentence, the star player is on the bench with an injury. The star player is on the bench with an injury. So in this case, the star player receives an injury in the match or in the game, and they take a break and they sit on the bench. So we say on the bench, meaning not in play. That player is not in the game right now, to be on the bench. Okay. Finally, the last expression, to take one for the team. To take one for the team. You will hear this outside of sports a lot too, in any team situation. This expression means to do something or like to receive a negative effect of some kind on behalf of the team or for the good of the team. So it's like you don't want to, but you'll accept some kind of negative responsibility so your team members can do something else, like so they can do something without you. So like a good example of this might be like if you're in a team situation, a team meeting situation, and you don't have enough of something, you don't have enough like drinks for your team or something like that, you can say, oh, that's all right, I'll take one for the team, I'll buy my own drink. So it's like you have some kind of negative effect, but you want the other people to succeed or the other people to be happy, so you agree to do something a little different for them, kind of. So another example, I had to take one for the team today. So that means I had some kind of usually small inconvenience, but my team was happy. So you might hear this as well in sports and in other team-related situations. So these are some expressions that you can use when you're talking about sports and other team-related activities.